have the Budget Finance Committee start first. It's probably the most lengthy. And what I've done here is I've kind of done a review of, this will be our third meeting, but I've done a review of what we've covered so far, looking for any possible mistakes, or if we headed down the wrong road somewhere, we pick it up. But on January 10th, Wayne Cohn suggested all employees across the board needed raises, and the committee unanimously approved that. Luke presented a budget which included 2% across the board, general fund employee raises. His figures are based upon utilizing $76,000 plus or minus from Parks and Rec funds. Dan Sherrill stated that Parks could handle that reduction in funds for 1 year. He recommended a committee meeting be held Tuesday, January 15th to discuss it with John Phillips. In a discussion with regard to police department cars followed, and Dan made a motion to transfer $120,000 from reserves to the general fund police department to purchase 4 new cars in 2013. The motion was seconded by Joe Crockett, and the vote was 5-0, all aye. Wayne stated that the last infrastructure tax, Ordinance 1309, included a provision to allow the purchase of police department vehicles from those revenues. That didn't go any farther than that. Then a citizen requested, in view of the fact that certain mandated raises to employee salaries will reduce their net pay when compared to their salaries in 2012, that the council reconsider increased salaries by 4%. Then on January 15th at that meeting, Luke advised that additional general funds had been found, which increases the amount of funds available for employee raises. The general fund balance amount would be revised to show $11,373.73 surplus rather than the original $33,349.84 deficit. Luke prepared a budget reflecting this change and included a across-the-board general fund employee raise except for elected officials. John Phillips then made a presentation which included comparisons of total income, city transfers, and the amount generated by parks. The city transfer amount varied from a low of $499,059.96 in 2008 to a high of $560,004 in 2011. The 2013 requested amount is the same as that transferred in 2012, $515,700. John agreed that the reduction in the city transfer amount would have a negative impact on 2013 operations, but that he could get by for 1 year at that level. And it was mentioned to him that all other departments had reduced their request and felt that Parks too should reduce its request. It was also mentioned that while a 2% figure had been discussed in connection with general fund employee raises, the Park Department tentative salary increases amounted to approximately 3.5%. John had originally been told that the amount needed was $70,760, but in view of the information presented by Luke, that figure would be reduced to approximately $59,000. The discussion then led to whether or not a motion was in order to present a committee recommendation to the full council to approve this latest budget figure. A motion was not made. However, there was a recommendation to present this budget to the full council for action. And now, if there are any corrections that need to be made there, I think I would like that information at this time.
I'd like to say, I don't know where you got an estimate of 3.5% pay raises. I haven't done a budget yet, so I mean, that's not true.
Well, no, that just showed up in your list, John. On your list that we were given.
What is it?
The Parks budget sheet.
It was a comparison of 2011 and 2012.
I mean, oh, you mean in what it actually was?
Well, I know about what it says on this sheet right here.
Part-time, maybe? I don't know, but I haven't. I mean, whatever I gave you, there's what
It's from 391 to 405. That's what this sheet shows.
whatever that number is that I gave you.
But it doesn't make that much difference.
Yeah.
It's just a
Yeah. But I mean, I haven't done a budget reflecting the 3.5% pay raise for any, because I haven't
Well, I
done
didn't
the.
5, I said 3.
I said 3.5.
Oh, I think.
Yeah.
Anybody have any suggestions? As this little piece of paper tells us right here, we've just about gotten to the end of the road. Do you have any questions, first of all, for Luke? Luke has to leave a little bit early, and if we have questions, I think he'd appreciate getting those out of the way so that
Lay your names over there. Hey. Dan, are you looking at this as zero in the general fund? Is that what you're looking at doing? Or whatever?
total green?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Making that a zero deficit.
That's right.
Zero surplus, however you want to put it.
What that amounts to is, the figure that I have is $59,387.02. Do we have anything for Luke? Do you have any questions at all with regard to this change in revenues? Well, we've been, I think we've been here often enough and long enough that it's time, we need to make a decision, one way or another, for heaven's sakes. We're just beating this horse to death. And
It's first presented, we had a deficit budget.
pardon?
I know our first budget that was presented to us, I think it had a $33,000 deficit.
It is correct.
And then you found that $37,000. Right now, we're sitting at 22,000 surplus overall, total budget, not just, I'm counting all parts. I could throw in some other thinking. It's just my thinking, thinking or thinking, which one is it? Thinking, I think.
Well, if there's something that needs to be brought up and discussed, let's get it done, but.
We could give our raise, we could give the raises to all employees, not cut the part. And turn in a deficit budget.
And you're gonna get the money where?
Well, we have the money in reserve, we do have that. We can turn in a deficit budget as long as we have the reserve, so. And that's just another aspect of it.
That's something that'll follow you right down the road, you don't get away with it, just put it off. We need to get it handled and get it over so we can get back onto something that, there are other problems that need to be faced, and as long as we stay on this, we're not gonna get them faced.
Are you talking about the one with the raises with the 2%? Or is that what you're talking about?
You know, that's not good business. It's not good business to do anyway.
No, my feeling is we need to get it done, and get it behind us. I mean, we've had, I think, probably 5 different budgets now that Luke has prepared for us, and the changes aren't that significant, but and surely within 5 of them, there ought to be one that we could get satisfied with and get it done.
I said no. Craig, Wayne, got anything to say?
If we're gonna have to have a deficit budget, we might as well appropriate the money from the reserve if we're gonna have to, anyway, and then turn it in.
Well, I think let's go around the table.
Dan, can I ask you a question before you
Sure.
do that? I wasn't here Tuesday thanks to the ice storm coming out of Little Rock, but, and I apologize to the finance committee for not being able to make it back to Harrison in time, but if this money is going to be taken out of parks, where is it going to be taken from?
That'd have to be a judgment made by the Parks Board, I would imagine. They have control of those funds.
Comes off the top.
In fact, there was one suggestion made that possibly leave it in reserve.
I would, and I can't speak for the Parks Commission, but I would assume that it would be what reserves that we do have, it would probably come out of those. At least that would be my recommendation to them.
Yeah.
Luke, how would that affect the balance of reserves if we were to take it out of there?
Full 70,000?
No, it'd be the 59, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, I just meant the full
60,000, yeah.
Full 70 off of the 11 surplus, but yeah, 60,000. I mean, it's just, what do you do next year? That's just the next question is, 60,000, you're gonna be around 3 million still in reserves, as long as you don't have any other major breakdowns or something like that we, and you like to hover around that 6-month mark, if not more. I mean, I've already told, I think, a lot of people here that you need to have those reserves for in case something would, like an ice storm hit. You're gonna have to be able to front that
It certainly
money.
limits your ability to face anything else that might come up, that's for sure.
Sure.
I want to ask, if you don't mind, Dan, and since Luke's got to leave, another thing I had on here, we've already approved a week's vacation.
Before, on the past council.
We've already approved an extra week's vacation.
How do we do that?
You know,
They did it, they did it.
Previous
Yeah.
council.
I don't know how that's going to affect things.
Well, I'll tell you how it's going to affect it. Some of them have already used it. So you're in a bind now. You can't treat one like you do the other, so you stuck your neck out there and you're hung with it. That's what amounts to. It's done.
So everybody gets an extra week's vacation this year.
Oh, it's a one-time deal.
They didn't really repair anything.
Not everybody wants it as a
Yeah.
eligible.
Yeah. Joe, do you have anything?
No, I'm good.
I've got
Wayne, I'd
some.
like to hear from you.
Well, I'm sitting here, things going through my head, and I'm in total agreement with Luke as far as our reserve fund is concerned. I do not want to see the city get below a point to where we can operate, and I agree with him in the 6-month period. And if we're going to dip in reserves to do this or anything else, I'm not in agreement with dipping in reserves so the city can't run if we have to. I hate giving up services, but there may be something we should give up. short of going any deeper into the reserves.
As I have been told, now I don't know this, but as I have been told, that every line item in all of these budgets have been scrutinized very, very thoroughly and quite lengthy. And I don't know because I wasn't here at that time, but I have to believe it because I have gone and talked to some who are involved in that process, and their explanations ring pretty true to me, that's for sure, that they've done everything they can possibly do. You know, when I look at the employees and the salaries, they aren't that great when I see that like over 20% of the salaries are $25,000 or less out of 140 employees. That tells you something right there. And when you bounce this off of them, that's going to hurt them even worse because part of it's going to have to come out of their pocket.
So I understand that. Like I said before, I wish that somebody would give the employees a larger raise than a 2% raise. I got a paycheck last week, and they had put a note in it that my take-home pay was less than I'd been taking home. I understand where you're coming from in that part of it. And I understand we've got to have this done by the 1st of February, and I just don't want to go into reserves get any more than we absolutely, if there's some other way of doing it.
Well, I feel the same way about the reserves, but I don't know whether the majority does. And I think the critical thing at this point is the timing, because I think we've gone about as far as we can go. Unless somebody comes up with something, and so far I haven't heard anything different than from day one. It's been the same thing. And it's time now that we have to bite the bullet. We have to get it done.
Well, it's better than day one, but at least Luke come up with has got us in a positive figure on it right now compared to what it was when we first started working with it. So that's an improvement from day one.
I'd like some suggestions.
Are we talking, if we do give raises, are we talking retroactive, or how are we talking on that?
No,
I think they're effective January 1st.
Yep. Because it's not the employee's fault. We set up here as a group and keeping this done by the 1st.
Somebody step up to the plate and make the decision what way we're gonna go.
Any kind of emotion, let's get something started here. Because we're not doing the thing here tonight.
Luke, let me ask you a question. We chose to take another $120,000 out of the reserve fund for the police cars. And then we're adding another 59 or 60, well, basically 60,000, 61,000 to this. The figure you gave us a while ago, does that include both of these figures? As far as the amount you have left in reserves?
It does not include 120,000.
Does not include the 120.
You're looking at 2.88, roughly,
Okay.
maybe a little less, 2.87. That number right there drops you down below 6 months. based on our budget as presented.
If there's nothing else that you need out of Luke, I think probably you could leave it.
I can stay.
We're not making much headway here, that's for sure.
Stay until 7 o'clock, that's it.
Got a deadline to make a motion. The motion for the police units has already been presented and to be presented to the council.
Which one went up?
The one for the police units.
It has not been presented.
I know, but it's been presented by the finance council, committee to be presented to the council.
That's the situation right now is, it is to be presented to the
Right.
full court.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
And,
yeah, and the motion to make this go to the full committee or full court with our recommendation was not available.
That's the other job.
It's all right, Dan.
We didn't have those.
Luke, step up here, will you?
Too much talk.
You can do that for 30 days.
Okay.
Does this figure, does not include the 2%?
Yeah.
No, it does, but it comes directly out of Parks and
Stop. Yes, you need to stop, yeah. I see what you're saying.
Quicker next time.
I was trying to figure out, it's still, I think, indefinitely, if we get a 2% increase. That's where it
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Chairman,
Sir.
at this time, I would make a motion that we present this budget as given with a 2% increase, and that 2% increase coming from reserves to the full council for approval. Second.
Okay. That is,
That's a change.
did you second that, Rick? Yeah.
Wait 1 week from tonight to do that special meeting. Luke, will that give you enough time to do everything you've got to do by the 1st?
Should.
Oh, there he is.
What are you talking about, his,
Financials and everything.
Yeah, getting everything he needs to do to,
24?
Well, I was thinking, closed what, Monday, right? Off Monday?
City Hall is closed on Monday.
Yeah, so you could do a lunchtime Tuesday. I mean, if you wanted to do it earlier than waiting a whole nother week.
He might not have it ready.
On Tuesday, there is a 1 o'clock planning
Oh,
commission.
yeah.
okay.
So we just have to make sure that we're down here.
Would that be January 22nd, then when at 6:30?
yes.
Next, that would be Tuesday. Is that
Next
what you're talking about?
Thursday.
Thursday would be the 24th.
Yeah.
That's what I thought, yeah.
24th.
Okay.
Okay, that's better.
January 24th to 6:30.
That's what I thought.
Would you like me to reflect the $120,000 police cars in this budget as well?
Yes.
Okay.
And then that will be a topic of discussion when the motion comes up also, if that's where we stay with that.
Yes, sir.
Well, he'd have to change his budget if he puts that in there. If that doesn't go through.
But yeah.
I'll have two. I'll have one. Again, the parks department will go back to the 515, and the rest will be taken out. Basically, we'll have a deficit budget.
Man, is that still by resolution?
Gentlemen, if you have nothing further, I'll
Thank you, Lou.
take off.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Your meeting next Thursday, you want it at 6:30, right? Not a lunchtime, 6:30. 24th.
Patrick, you'll need to notice that up and do the FOI notice.
Covered.
I was going to have a public works committee meeting, but I think we're going to wait. Dina is not here tonight. I'd rather have all three of us here, so we'll wait on that. And that's on the water increase. We'll schedule one. I'll get with Patrick, or I'll schedule one, and we'll have one sometime soon.
Suits me. Suits me.
Thank you. That's all I have.
We out of here?
Anybody else?
No, resource and policy, as far as I know, that's the only ordinance that's out there right now.
Yeah.
You're looking at
Once
it first, so
we
we
figure
have,
that out, we'll.
as resource and policy, we have nothing for tonight.
We haven't had the time to even address any of those. We've been so tied up in this thing that everything else has just kind of gone by the wayside. If there is nothing else, let's hear a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, stand up.